the favorite paper of the War Room is the Financial Times of London. Gillian Tett is one of their senior editors in charge of capital markets. She wrote a magnificent piece, talk about a learning organization. She wrote a magnificent piece over the weekend on Peter Navarro in Maganomics. Jason, you've had a chance to take a look at it. I know you've been at the very forefront, you and Scott Besant, E.J. Antoni, Peter Navarro, others, in kind of rethinking through the economics of what Trump's populist nationalist movement is. Give me your assessment of this article. What can people glean from it?
Well, I think people can glean from it the idea that China joining the WTO was wound up being a massive wealth transfer from the American middle class to the Chinese middle class. And of course, everyone in the U.S. Chamber of Commerce loved it because it meant more profits for them. But we largely kneecapped the working class in the United States. And that was seen as a very heterodox view before President Trump came along, but is increasingly being seen as a more mainstream consensus view now. There are very few things Democrats and Republicans can agree upon right now, but I would say one of the things they can agree upon is that China is seen as, at best, an economic rival, and at worst, an enemy. And I think we have to focus more on the true concepts of free trade or reciprocity of trade. If you really had free trade, these trade agreements, these multilateral trade agreements, would not be thousands of pages long. They'd be a half a page long, and say, you know, there are no tariffs between any of us. But that's not the case. There are always carve-outs. There are always political exceptions, and that's why this generally tends to favor rent seekers that have deep pockets, and it doesn't particularly favor the working class men and women of this country.